Hello Raptors fans, and welcome back for another episode of Raptors Overtime. My name is Vincent, and I'll be talking about the Raptors' 9-point loss to the Western Conference leading Denver Nuggets. Both teams played without key players tonight. Toronto did not have the production of Kyle Lowry, Jonas Valanciunas, Pascal Siakam, and Fred VanVleet. The Nuggets were missing key players in Gary Harris, Paul Millsap, and Will Barton. With both teams shorthanded, it was going to be interesting to see which players would step up and fill the gap left by each team's injured players. Toronto led the game for the first 3 quarters. However, the Raptors managed to only score 14 points in the final frame. Denver, on the other hand, scored 27 points and pulled away to beat the Raptors with a final score of 95-86. Let's talk about player performances for the Raptors. This was the second game back for Kawhi Leonard after his recent injury. However, he dropped 29 points on 12 of 21 shooting, but only shot 1 of 6 from three-point range. Kawhi also grabbed 14 rebounds and dished out 4 assists. He finished as the Raptors' leader in points, rebounds, and assists, and overall, he played very well. With Kyle Lowry and Fred VanVleet out with injuries, DeLon Wright started at the point guard position. Wright finished with 15 points on 6 of 12 shooting and shot 0 for 4 from three-point range. He grabbed 8 rebounds, dished out 4 assists, and managed 1 steal. Overall, he provided solid minutes at the point guard position tonight. Serge Ibaka had the best plus-minus of the night at +6 and had an efficient night on the offensive end. He did not score 20-plus points tonight, but did finish with 14 points on 6 of 10 shooting and made the only 3-point attempt he took. Serge played well tonight. However, with so many key pieces out of the lineup, it would have been awesome if he had scored 20-plus tonight against the Nuggets. Danny Green was unable to reproduce his solid performance from the previous game and scored only 7 points on 3 of 9 shooting. His 3-point shooting percentage also plummeted this game, and he shot 1 of 4 from long distance. In my opinion, Danny Green had a pedestrian performance tonight. The final starter for the Toronto Raptors was CJ Miles. In the last episode of Raptors Overtime, I mentioned that he played well against the Portland Trail Blazers despite the Raptors losing that game. It seemed like he had finally found his stroke from three-point range, and it really helped space the floor for the Raptors. However, tonight, against the Nuggets, it was a different story. CJ scored 6 points on 2 of 12 shooting, making only 2 of his 9 from three-point range. He grabbed 4 rebounds, dished out 1 assist, and had 2 steals. Miles isn't known for his defensive prowess and was brought in as a sharpshooter who would be able to space the floor for the Raptors. However, this season he continues to struggle with his 3-point shot. I had hoped that with his great shooting night against the Portland Trail Blazers that he had finally found his stroke, but that doesn't seem to have been the case. I would say that Miles' performance tonight was forgettable, especially on the offensive end of the floor. With the starters out of the way, let's talk about the Raptors' bench performance. With so many key players out of the Raptors lineup, a lot of third-string players were given minutes. Anunoby was the only player who came off the bench tonight who got consistent minutes prior to this game. The other players who got playing time tonight were Lorenzo Brown and Greg Monroe. The theme of poor shooting continues on the bench unit, and let's start with OG Anunoby, who scored 7 points on 2 of 10 shooting and was 2 of 8 from three-point range. Monroe, who has provided some solid minutes in the past 2 games for the Raptors and limited playing time, also did not have a stellar offensive performance. Moose had only 4 points on the night, shooting 2 of 6 from the field, and also grabbed 4 rebounds. Finally, let's get to Lorenzo Brown. I don't know about you guys, but whenever Brown plays, I get a little bit frustrated. I understand that he did well in the G League and is realistically the 4th-string point guard on this deep Raptors roster, but whenever he is on the court, it looks like he's trying to do too much. Brown did score 4 points tonight, however did so on 2 of 7 shooting and took 2 3-pointers, both of which he missed. With so many poor performances, the only player deserving of the Player of the Game award would be Kawhi Leonard, with his double-double performance. However, Leonard did not receive much help tonight on the offensive end of the floor, which ultimately cost the Raptors in the 4th quarter, where they managed to only score 14 points. With so many key pieces out for tonight, the Raptors' offense never seemed to be able to get into a rhythm. Lowry, Siakam, and VanVleet are listed as day-to-day, and it would be great to see them back in the next game, as this team definitely suffers without them. The Raptors only dished out 13 assists tonight on the offensive end, and this is also due to the fact that they weren't hitting any of their shots. However, the offense at times seemed to stagnate, and that's not how the Raptors got off to their hot start to this season. Hopefully, when Lowry and Siakam come back, they can inject some energy into the starting lineup and get out and run again. I also wanted to touch on the shooting woes of the Raptors tonight. I already mentioned the poor shooting performance of OG and CJ Miles from three-point range. However, overall as a team, The Raptors only made 7 of their attempted 35 three-point shots, giving them a terrible 20% three-point field goal percentage. If they had shot a rather average 30% instead from three-point range, that would have translated to 11 three-pointers made instead of 7 and would have given them an additional 12 points, which would have been enough to win this game. Let's hope that this team can get healthy and string together some consistent shooting nights because they are too good to score only 14 points in the fourth quarter. Let's talk about the Denver Nuggets player of the game, and that was definitely Jokic. This kid can straight up ball. He had 26 points on 11 of 19 shooting, grabbed 9 rebounds, dished out 4 assists, and had 2 steals. At 6'10", he has some unique talent, and in both wins over the Raptors this season, he was an invaluable piece with his contributions on the offensive end. Moving forward, Indiana comes to town to play the Raptors on December 19th, and hopefully the Raptors will see the return of some key players and get the W. Thanks for listening, and I hope to catch you all in the next episode of Raptors Overtime.